Right, well, welcome back to me weekly yarns. What are we getting done this week? Well, we still haven't cured our leaks on here. The thing that's leaking now is the gasket, but it's still the gasket between the sediment bowl and the pump body on the lift pump. I acquired a new gasket from one of my local suppliers earlier in the week. Unfortunately, it was the wrong size. It's 54.6 mil, and I think I need one at 56 mil. I need one at about 2¼ inch. I think that's about 56 mil ish. So trying to get a one is unbelievable. Honestly, it really is. I've had to this morning order a pump repair kit, which is the diaphragm, the 2 non-return valves, 2 white plastic neoprene seals. I can only imagine that's for the seats for the non-return valves to sit on. The spring and the rubber gasket for the bowl. That's the only way I could get a rubber gasket, because I've phoned around lots and lots of different people, and to be honest with you, no one has the gaskets. Ian left a comment that the old 20 parts company had them in. I rang them, nah, they haven't got them either, and spoke to a lad there. He didn't seem to think that he had any of them at all. And he was saying that Davy Brown, the pumps on the Davy Brown are a funny size, and people have difficulties getting a hold of the right seals. But I cannot see that, because it's an AC Delco pump. It's a standard pump that's put on a lot of tractors, wagons, everything. You know what I mean? This is a standard AC Delco pump. I've even got the part number for the pump and the part number for the gasket. But as I say, this morning I've had to order a repair kit for the pump, because it's the only way I'm going to get a gasket for it. I think it was about £7.50, £7.60 for a repair kit, which is not bad, is it? The pump doesn't need repairing. I'll just use the gasket. If in my travels I come across a gasket, I'll buy one anyway, and we'll pop it back into this kit, and it'll be a complete kit again, won't it? So we'll see where we'll go with that one. But at the minute, we have diesel through to this bleed screw now. There doesn't seem to be any more leaks in this area. The leaks, we haven't spun this yet, by the way, so we haven't got diesel up to the injectors. We've got diesel up to this bleed screw. We've got it flowing through the leak off pipes back to the tank. What I've got now, I've got a battery on charge, because we've got to pump the diesel up through here to the injectors, which will take probably quite a bit of spinning to get that up. But we're getting very, very close. We're getting very close. Tomorrow I think, and I know you guys have been waiting for the video to come out. It's been a long time. This is probably one of the longest videos, time-wise, not length of video, but the longest time it's took us to make a video. I think we've been on with this for about 2 weeks now. So tomorrow, hopefully tomorrow, we'll see. So in the previous yarns, I have mentioned that if you sent us some pictures of your Davy Browns, whether they're restored or whether they're just in that working clothes, as we call it, I'll pop them up in the yarns and let other people have a look at them. So John Perry sent us a set of pictures up of his tractor. We'll pop them up at the end of the yarn here. Let everybody have a look at them. And we'll see. It's a lovely tractor. He made a really good job of it. But as I say, we'll pop them up and you can all have a look at them, see what you think of it. The channel is still growing very strongly. Thank you very much, every single one of you who take the time to come and visit us. It's very, very much appreciated. Honestly, it is. And out of that, we have now, I don't know if it's on the channel yet, but it will be very soon we gain another area to the channel called the community, which is a tab on the home page which we can put some information in, we can put links in, and we can put some pictures in. So with that in mind, we had an email from Campbell Booth down in the South Island of New Zealand, and he sent me this enormous email, and it's full of extremely useful information, measurements, all sorts. And I had started to make a note, I'll show you, I started to make notes here from his email to give you guys some information today on the yarn. But then I realised it was just, that would take up a yarn in itself to give you, and it's all very useful, good quality information. So what I've done is I've been back in touch with Campbell, getting his permission, and what we'll do is once this community tab opens up, and it apparently takes maybe a week or 2 weeks for this to happen in the system, once that tab opens up, I will publish this email in that tab and it will stay there. So the information will be there for anyone else who wants to go and have a look at it. It's relative to thread sizes, all sorts of bits and pieces of information in there. Because Campbell has done a number of Davy Brown restorations. He's a farmer down in New Zealand. And again, I'll put some pictures up, possibly in the community area. If not in the community area, definitely on the yarns, on the next weekend's yarn as opposed to this weekend's yarn. I don't know if it's obvious, but we're back on iPhones here as opposed to GoPros. Why is that? Because I came out this morning to do the yarn and both the batteries on the GoPro stone dead. One would switch the camera on and it stopped on for about 10 minutes and turned off. The other one won't even turn the screens on. So it's in the house charging up, and I thought I'd come out, have a go at this with the iPhone, and we'll see how we get on with this. But technology, as I say, technology, wonderful thing if it works properly. Just 9 times out of 10 it doesn't. Quality, speaking of cameras, speaking of iPhones, quality. As you know, we've been having a few issues lately with bits and pieces of quality, whether it be with audio equipment or whether it was with mainly video. And I'm going to try and explain to you in the next couple of minutes. I'm going to try and crush it down a bit because it does get a bit long-winded and it can get a bit over the top. We would come in here, we'd do our videos, and we've installed extra lights, as you know, to get the light up in here so we can do the videos and hopefully get better quality videos for you. Take them back in the house, put them through our software, get an MP4 result, load that up to YouTube, and then I used to watch them back before they were released to the public. I would go in and I'd watch them back on YouTube, looking for obvious things that I had missed. Maybe he's not done the editing properly, maybe this audio had altered, because when you upload to YouTube, they compress the digital information in order to shorten the file size for their storage facilities. So, we were noticing that the videos were grey, the colours weren't good, the image sharpness wasn't good. And I thought this was YouTube. I thought this was something that was happening with the compression at YouTube. So started doing a bit of searching online, and it appears I'm not the only one that thinks this as well. There's quite a few people out there that thinks that it was YouTube that was compressing the videos too much, and they're getting degraded. And they're getting degraded. Because it's funny that when I open up YouTube and I put it through my web browser is Firefox, so I put it through my web browser and I'm watching Lance and his colours is wonderful, his audio is brilliant. I go and watch Matt, Pacific Northwest Hillbilly. His colours is brilliant, his sharpness is brilliant, everything. And mine was grey. So you think, and I know it sounds a little bit paranoid, but why mine? What's happening with mine? So I started reading these forums, and as I say, there was a lot of people out there with the same opinion as mine, that something was happening to your video on YouTube that wasn't right. This fella on one of these forums said, go to YouTube, download your video from YouTube to your computer, play it on whatever software you have. So I've got Windows Media Player, so you play through Windows Media Player. The video comes up bright, sharp, colourful, audio good. Close that down, you play my exact copy, the one I've uploaded, play mine on the same player, exactly the same results. So this fellow was saying, so it's not YouTube, because you've just downloaded the video they have and you've played it on your media player and it works. He says, have a look at your web browser. And I dug a little bit deeper, and there was a guy on there on another forum was saying, what you need to do for Firefox, and it's not just particular to Firefox, apparently every browser has its little intricacies. Go in, alter the settings in Firefox. And then he said, my graphics card is an NVIDIA graphics card, because I built my own computers to run me screens that I need. So he says, go into this, onto the NVIDIA control panel and alter your settings in there. And lo and behold, fixed. So all the time, it was my computer, my internet browser, and my monitors, my graphics cards that were pulling down the quality of my image. Now the confusing thing about that is, why wasn't it doing it to all the other videos that I was watching as well? Then why was it only doing it to my video? And the guy came back with the answer of, you don't know what you're looking at. And I know that sounds daft. When I look at my videos, I know what I'm looking at. I know what the colours are. I know my skin tone. I know what I sound like. You don't know the true voice of Lance McGaskill. You don't know the true voice of Matt, Pacific Northwest Hillbilly. And he says you don't know the true colours. So all you have for a reference is what is presented in front of you on your screen, because you don't have their references to compare their jobs to. But you have your reference, and that's why yours looks different. And I must admit, since we tweaked the screens, it has been good, has been better. So anybody out there who's suffering from grey images, any content providers that's watching this, if you're suffering from grey images, drop us a little line in a comment or send us an email, manatthemist@gmail.com, and we can either do a little short video on the tweaks I did on my screens, or we can maybe point it towards a good source of information where you can go and see other people tweaking their screens. In my last job, we told you that our G-clamp turned up, didn't it, for our brake rivets, and we were knocking the pad off the end, weren't we? The rotary pad off the end, so we can use the ball to flare the brake rivets. Alright, guess what? Doesn't work. Didn't bother. I've destroyed a good brand new clamp. What we need to do now is I might take the screw out, try and put a better radius on the end, or even put a taper on the end so that it goes in and flares the rivet. Because what happened was, I tried that, and what happened was it just split the rivet. It tried to crush it a little bit, but then I think because of the play in the thread in here, that the screw tipped and the rivet and everything went out of line, and it failed. So I need a new rivet for my brake lines because I bust one. But we'll see, we'll get there. So a few little jobs are getting done this week. You can't see that, can you, for the exhaust pipe. We'll get my sender put in because I dug out my old sender, cleaned it up, sent away for some taps and dies because they were 3/16 BSF studs and nuts. Didn't have any. Sent away to my favourite tool company who I get all my taps and dies off and my drills. I've got no affiliation with these people at all, but they're a good company, good prices, quick deliveries, and they've got all of the Imperial gear that we need. Because again, trying to pick up Imperial stuff at the minute is difficult, but I use Tracy's tools in the UK. Yeah, for instance, when I'm cleaning threads, not tapping or running new threads, but if I was just cleaning threads like I am there, I will buy carbon steel taps and dies. The taps for that were £2 each. The die was £2 or £3. The simple round die was £2 or £3. The die nut was £6. Now for that I needed a die nut because obviously with this and with the proximity of the other studs, you weren't going to get a die holder into there. You weren't going to get a die holder into there. So I got a die nut and we used it in a socket, and I just went on with the socket and cleaned everything out in there. But as you'll see in the video when it comes out, it is working. It's going to get fixed. It's going to have to get fixed because they're like hen's teeth, these things. You can't get them. So, don't know if you can see, in preparation for spinning this engine, I've got the gearbox lid on. The gearbox cavity is totally empty. I've took all the cloths and everything out of there. I've put the gearbox lid on to protect the output shaft from the engine, because I don't want anything getting, like the towels or my cloths getting caught up and then getting dragged in, and the potential for accidents is just huge when you've got rotating parts, especially when you're busy up this end and you're concentrating on this end, you're not concentrating on that end. So it's closed off, it's safe. We still haven't gotten any clips for this. I'm going to have to probably just go to the car shop and buy some band clips, some normal Jubilee clips with a flat band on, just temporary, put it on so we can get some coolant liquid into this so we can give it a spin. I need also just to go around and just nip, because none of the exhaust manifold, the inlet manifold, none of that is tight. It was simply put on to stop rubbish getting into the holes. We'll just need to go around, nip them all up, so when this thing is vibrating, when it's running, and I keep saying when it's running, nothing's going to drop off and get damaged. So, hopefully, that's it, battery's on charge. We've got diesel up to this point now. As soon as our battery is charged, I'm going to leave it on overnight, probably tomorrow morning. We're going to come out, hook it up, and we're going to spin this, and we're going to get the diesel up to the injectors here, and we're going to see if we can get it fired. And then we've just got to edit the video and get it out for you guys to see. As I say, I think it's took about 2 weeks to get to this point with ordering parts. That leak on the sediment bowl, I thought we could have stopped that quite quickly and easily, but it turned out that we cannot get a gasket for love nor money at the minute. I've got one on order, it's coming. Posties are on strike again today. We'll love you, posties, we'll love you, we'll support you 100%. Anyway, right, so we'll just have to wait and see, won't we? See if it'll start. When you think about it, there's absolutely no reason why I shouldn't start. We did the time, everything was timed up perfectly at the front end when it went together. It was timed up when the pump went on. Keep our fingers crossed, won't we? We'll get this running next couple of days. And then once that's running, we'll be able to get this took off again because this just eats the space in here. We'll get this took off, cleaned out. It'll go back up to the farm, wrapped up for the time when we do need it, and then we'll concentrate on possibly getting the gearbox in, getting the back end sorted out. And then if we can get it down to possibly a valve chest. Now, that was something else as well. Campbell Booth, New Zealand. He says he's had them stuck. And he had said, have you tried white vinegar? He says, soak them for a week in white vinegar. And he sent us a photograph, which will come up on the community. In fact, I'm going to put it up here. I'm going to put the picture up here of a pair of pliers that he shaped up to pull this particular spool valve out. So I'm going to put that picture up for you. I'm going to go and get a cheap pair of needle nose pliers, and we're going to grind them up the same, and we're going to have a go at pulling this valve out once it's been soaked in vinegar for a week, and we'll see if we can get it out. Now, I know it's just for my own satisfaction, this. I just want it out for my own satisfaction, because at the end of the day, we're still going to send it down to Barclay Williams to get rebuilt and set up. And then when it comes home, it can go together onto a selector, go back in. I think there's a little bit tweaking to do once it goes onto the selector for us to set up the clearances and that on the selector. But we'll do some reading, we'll do some research, and I'm sure you guys will send me a lot of information in the comments about setting it all up. Right guys, I think that's about it for this week. As I say, just short and sweet. We're getting bits and pieces done, we're waiting for parts, but that's it for this week. As I say, we'll put a few pictures up here for you. I'll give you a quick walk around. It'll be very brief, but I'll give you a quick walk around and show you what we're getting done here. I'll show you my leak on the other side. Right, so as you can see here, got a sender unit in, got it nipped up. I put a bit of weld seal on one side of the gasket. Obviously the sender is coming back out to get repaired. As I see it, we can see here, we've put the lid on. Now, the observant amongst you will notice this is not the correct lid for this tractor. This is the lid that came with the tractor, and it had a blanking plate on here, because this is for your slow and normal. This is for the 12 speed box that's on the front of here. However, this is only a 6-speed box in here. So I've got the blanket plate. We're just going to put the blanket plate back on here. There's no point in putting my steering gear on out like that on at the minute, because this is going to be on and off like a whore's knickers. The gearbox has got to go in yet anyway, and we've got to get the diff lock actuator, the diff lock in, haven't we, from that side, which goes in through the casting. There is a special tool for that. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to have to make something to reach in, because you have to reach in with the diff lock and the spring on this tool, put it into the diff, compress the spring and get the actuator into the collar on the diff lock, and then wire everything up so it stops in place. Now again, Campbell from New Zealand did say that's a bugger when the wire comes loose, and it sometimes does. You can just imagine it, can't you? You'd just be there getting your drive shaft through the hole, and it's going to go ping, and the whole lot's going to shoot off to the inside, and you have to fish it all out with bits of wire. But can you imagine the fun you can have doing that, eh? Spend a day fishing the diff lock back out and then trying to get it back in again. It's great, isn't it? Right guys, let's have a look at diesel leaks. I'm going to have to change that in a minute, because it leaks like that overnight. So as I say, I've got a repair kit coming for the pump, but I'm only buying the repair kit because I have to in order to get that rubber washer. I got one through the week from Cars Billington, our local agricultural suppliers. It's a Sparex one, yeah, but it's too little. The OD is too little. I think this is a 54.6 mil, and I'm sure I need a 56 mil. This is part number 67638. But you know what it is? 48 pence from Cars Billington. Right. I phoned another company this morning, local to me. He wanted £6. And I went, oh, no, that's a bit extra. Oh, right, well, let's have a look. I think we can do it for £3 for you. So I've ordered one of them for £3. But we'll see. We'll see what it's like. As I say, this kit will turn up first. We'll get the one out of the kit, put that in, and then the other one, if it's right, will go back into the kit, and the kit will get put away for use in another pump at some point. One of my viewers, Rob Evans from Christchurch in Dorset, entered his tractor into the Christchurch Carnival Parade. He very kindly sent us these pictures. He's telling us in his email that that this tractor has, obviously, as we can see, has had some restoration, but previous to him buying it, and there's not an awful lot of records as to what was actually done with it. But whoever's done it looks like they've done a cracking job. Just a pity they didn't keep all the information and pass it on with the tractor, isn't it? Would have been lovely to do that. But looking good there, Rob. Looking brilliant. Should be really proud of it, mate. That's a real nice one. So that's it for this week, guys. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please give us a thumbs up, like and subscribe. Tick the little bell as well. That way you get notifications up on your screen when we release the next video. You haven't got to come looking for it. We'll tell you when it's there. Now remember, don't overthink it. It's just nuts and bolts. See you in the next one. Stay safe. Bye now.